Searching for the Tao within the Tao. This is the mission of the young Chinese Taoist priest Sun Yi. And with this, I welcome you back to this week's episode. And this week, I'm going to introduce to you this awesome book here, The Confessions of a Taoist on Wall Street. And it's written by David Payne and published in 1984. And I will just first briefly introduce to you and summarize the basic story of this book. And yeah, basically it all starts in the 1940s with the American volunteer group, the AVG, or better known as the Flying Tiger Brigade, were fighting in southern China and Myanmar, or back then Burma, against the Japanese. And these were pilots stationed in Rangoon, and I think it's some places in China. So in this book they were in China, and they got to know some Chinese women, and with these women they also got, sadly, some children. And this is just the case of Sun Yi and his father. He was a Chinese pilot there in the AVG of one of the Flying Tigers. And basically, first here you can see also a picture on the title here. You have a tiger with this wings, so you can already see it's about the Flying Tiger Brigade. But yeah, that's now back to the story. It's like that this American pilot got a Chinese girlfriend there, and she got pregnant. But during that time, during her pregnancy, the American already went back to the United States, and so she was left there being pregnant. And she also knew that she couldn't raise the child alone during this time, because it wouldn't be such a good thing in this society. So they agreed basically to let him raise up in a Taoist monastery in Sichuan. This monastery was called Kongquan, and this is where he rose up until he was 21, and then he got to know, okay, his father probably is still alive in the United States, because his mother also passed away. And he grew up with all the Taoist thoughts and principles around him, and he became a Taoist priest himself, and then went into America. And this is the real great deal about this book, because he's comparing and mixing and finding similarities between those two principles or religions, like Christianity on the one hand and Taoism, and also mixed with some Confucianism and Buddhism. So it's a really interesting book. And let me go into it and introduce to you. I made some notes again, the most interesting parts and what I've learned out of this book. So first of all, I think the interesting thing was the 10 bull meditation, or the 10 bull songs. In Chinese it's the Shi Niu Tu. Actually, I think it's now a heritage of the Zen Buddhism, or in Chinese the Chanzong Jiao. And not that much of a Dao Jiao anymore. But I read in the internet that it's a heritage. It's like based on like eight pictures of bulls, which tell the story of first, the search for the bull; second, discovering the footprints; third, perceiving the bull; fourth, catching the bull; 5, taming the bull; 6, riding the bull home; 7, the bull transcended; 8, both bull and yourself transcended; 9, reaching the source; 10, you are in the world. And the most important here is reaching the source. This is what I think a lot of Taoism is about, like what I've learned about in this book, in this novel, but which is also based or like related to a lot of truth knowledge, is that he often quotes, reality is one and Tao is reality. So Tao also is all around, and it's the source to everything. So this is a little bit what we maybe could say, that God is also everywhere. And now this 10 bull song, or the 10 bull pictures or meditation, you could also summarize probably as the enlightenment, or the search for enlightenment, is like riding on a bull's back while searching for the bull. And in Chinese there's also a similar Chengyu, goes like this: Qi Lü Zhao Lü or Qi Lü, Mi Lü, which means like you're looking for something which you already probably have. And this is, I think, an interesting part which brings me thinking about like the meaning of life and what you're looking for. And then the second principle of like Taoism is that Wu Wei, the act of non-action. So it means that you should do something actionless, and he brings the example of someone who is carrying water buckets up a temple, up a monastery, and there are many stairs and many people spill over a lot of water. But if you can perform this act without really performing the act, then you won't spill any water anymore. And inside the book, what Sun Yi, the Taoist priest who went to America, is always trying to he's trying to observing things rather than participating in it, or he wants to participating without engaging. So there's like this passiveness of Wu Wei. But later his master there in the United States, who he met at the stock exchange, like an old Jew, he's very acquainted with stocks and then trading. He told him that he actually, if you really want to know how it is and understand the Dow Jones this time, then you need to invest. And that's what they are later doing as well. And they are, for instance, using the I Ching, the book of changes, which can be used to predict the future. They use it to choose stocks, to pick stocks. This, I think, also very interesting. And then inside this book, because it's a lot of Taoism, and the founder of Taoism is Lao Tzu, or Lao Tzu, also known in English language. There are many quotes of him, and this time now I would thank my teacher, my professor at university, Mr. Vermeer, who also told us this quote, and now I know where he got it from, probably from this book, because he recommended us this book as well. It's called "He who speaks does not know, he who knows does not speak." In Chinese it's "Yan zhe bu yan, zhe zhe bu yan zhe bu zhe, zhe zhe bu yan." And yeah, it's a cool quote, I think. And there are also other Taoists like Zhuangzi and his poem of the butterflies, the dream of the butterfly is mentioned as well. And then also a little bit of Confucianism, like, because when he entered New York, he also went to another Chinese immigrant's family, and there you could see the Confucianist ideals and in their behavior, or like how to behave as a gentleman. And there's these 3,300 principles of conduct, for instance. And in New York you also sees the triad. The triad is like basically the mafia, the Chinese mafia. I think in Chinese it's the San He Hui. And now to the stock markets. If you're interested in stock markets, this book might also be interesting for you, because he's talking about many indicators, things like the price-earnings ratio, or techniques of doing mergers and acquisitions and or taking over other companies, and then also about the random walk theory of stock prices, so that you cannot really anticipate any stock prices. They fluctuate at random, because it's all just like human minds behind it, and you can't predict like human choices and all the influences in the stock prices. And then it's then let's come to what I think is the most important thing in this book, is the commonalities between Taoism and the stock markets. So there's mentioned that the bull markets can be compared to yang, and beer compared to yin. So yin and yang resembles bull and bear markets, and together they make the world go round and the Tao go up and down. And then truly Taoists believe a lot in nature, and they like everything nature. So basically this is also what capitalism is attempting, to let nature achieve her own homeostasis in the economic sphere. And later he's also changing, Sun Yi is changing and adapting into this, and he adapting this market behavior and he's getting more Americanized, and he adapts this no balls, no glory thing, and gets a lot of chutzpah, like this Yiddish word. And yeah, one more thing which I want to mention is in this book, what I think is interesting is that the way of succession dance and war dance, two principles, that the one I think is doing something great without goodness, and the other one is doing something great with goodness. And this can be used for, this is used by, for this love affair Sun Yi has between two women, or he has to decide between two women who he loves. And yeah, all in all, it's a really great book, and I think it comes very closely to maybe Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, because in the thickness it has like 700 something pages, and it's written very exciting, gripping and knowledgeable. But I also need to mention that I think some facts are not quite true, so you just need to think they are true so that the book gets even better. So you might do some research after reading it. For instance, he says that for the commonalities between Manhattan and the stock exchange and Taoism, he says that Sichuan is the place of heavenly lands, and Manhattan, he refers it to Manhattana, also means place of heavenly lands, but I couldn't find it. I think it doesn't really mean the heavenly lands. But however, interesting book. Yeah, if you're interested in P40s, AVG, and Taoism, it's a good book, I think. And well, yeah, thank you for watching this week's episode, and see you again.